So sometimes when something happens to you, you may say, I do not want to hold any responsibility for this. And we say, you really do? No, I'm sure that I don't. I don't like the unfolding of this. Therefore, I would like to explain that it is not about my point of attraction. And we say, yes, it is. And you say, sometimes, I know I would not have done that to me. You say that I'm the creator of my own reality, but why would I create things in my reality that I do not want to experience? And we say, we didn't say you're doing it on purpose. We say you're doing it. We didn't say that you're deliberate in your thought. We say you're thinking. We didn't say you're aware of your thought. We say you're thinking. We didn't say that you are deliberate about every thought. Sometimes you're influenced by the thoughts of others. This business of deliberate creation is about thinking deliberately. It's about projecting your thought. It's about thinking on purpose. Thinking is not what we're really asking you to think about. Feeling is what we're asking you to think about. We're asking you to think about feelings. That's just weird, isn't it? We're asking you to think about feelings. We're asking you to feel about feelings. We're asking you to translate vibration through your emotions rather than through your mind. We're asking you to care about how you feel, to feel your way to a thought. We're asking you to find vibrational alignment with who you really are and then think, yeah, that's it. That's what we're asking you to do. We're asking you to think with the whole of who you are rather than with a fragmented version of who you are. We're asking you to tune into all that you are and then contemplate it, rather than contemplate it from some shortage consciousness, from some belief system that you picked up along your physical trail from somebody else who was doing the same thing. We're asking you to think from the inside out rather than from the outside in. That's what deliberate creating is. It's caring first and foremost about your alignment with who you really are. So, your source energy in physical bodies, the larger part of you remaining non-physical, completely non-physical, remembering who you were, but not giving much attention to who you were before you became who you are. Ooh. Well, what do you mean who I am? Who you are vibrationally. There is a vibrational version of you that always precedes the manifested version. But if you're like most humans, we love you so much. You know what's coming next. You are not allowing yourself to be, in most moments, all that you are. And as you begin to contemplate that and reach with a little more deliberate intent into the frequency that is really you, as you accept that your life, your magnificent life, your detailed precision, leading edge, sifting and sorting life experience is causing a constant expansion of who you are. And that expansion matters. It matters to all of us. It matters to you. And it matters to you in your physical format, because that, above all other things, speaks to how you feel right now. So let's say you've been banging around in this physical experience. You have, haven't you? And you've been picking up things along your physical trail, and you have ideas, you have feelings of purpose, you have a placement in life experience, you have relationships, you're having exposure to life, and you think about the life that you are having exposure to. But there's something important that we want you to know, to remember, to know and to remember. And that is, there's a larger part of you who is having exposure to the life that you're having exposure to, who also has an opinion about the life that you're having exposure to that is resistance-free. And what we mean by that, as you explore the variety that you are living, you are launching rockets of desires. And these desires are known by the source within you and are held as the furthermost expanded beingness that is you. In other words, once life causes you to ask for something, the source within you knows you as that being who now is that. So there is a vibrational version of you who is experiencing all of the prosperity that you've been reaching for. who is experiencing all of the clarity that you are asking for, who's experiencing the vitality and the knowing and the alignment and the fulfillment and the satisfaction, all of the things that you want from life, that part of you is already living. So as you become aware that there is a non-physical part of you who is exposed to the life that you are living and who cares about the life that you are living, who loves whether you're loving or not, who knows your value whether you know it or not, who is pleased with where you are whether you are or not, as you understand that there is that part of you who is having that experience, and then you emotionally do your best to blend with that version of you. Now, you tune yourself little by little to the fullness of who you are, and in that wholeness, life is really, really good. And because you've tasted that wholeness from time to time, you can't go back from it, can you? That feeling that there's something more isn't about another car in your garage, although they are nice to have. It isn't about any of the things that so many people think that they need in order to fill the void that can't be filled with things. It is the alignment with who you are, not who you have been, who you are. It's the alignment with who you are that you're reaching for. And that's what we talk about all day, every day here.
So I come from the corporate world and I'm an executive coach. So I'm coaching executives and I know, you should have kind of plans and strategies and all of that. So if you ask me about my business, I don't. And how I built my business is, I attract it. And so for a while, this was like, this is odd, right? But it's odd, yet it works. And so what I decided is I need a practice, some kind of practice. And ultimately what I did is I began an attraction journal where I would record every time I'd get an email or the phone would ring or someone would refer somebody, introduce me to somebody that would relate to business so that I could notice and appreciate every one of those things.
The key to the success of that process that you've discovered is in the appreciation. Because in the appreciation, you're acknowledging the vibrational resonance, the vibrational integrity of what you're doing. Just keeping the journal in a sort of attitude of justification would actually backfire.
Got it.
But as you are noting and in your noticing and in your recording and in your appreciating, appreciation is the most important part, you are actually practicing the vibration of success.
Mm-hmm.
So when someone says to you, well, what's your strategy? You say, well, success comes to all of us. I'm just good at noticing it. And when I see it, even if it is a small version of a bigger picture that I'm wanting, I notice it and I practice the feeling of appreciation within it. And then I'm noticing, you could say, that law of attraction, if they're ready for those words. If not, you could use the word momentum, that there is a momentum that responds to whatever I'm feeling. So if I'm focusing with appreciation on something that feels good to me, it always becomes more. You could say, if they want a label of who you are, what do you do? What is your strategy? What is your plan? You could say, I'm intuitive. My strategy is to not get in my own way. My strategy is to sniff out or feel my way to the path of least resistance. Because before, when I was justifying my life, when I was more determined and efforting, I got tired because I realized I was bucking my own current. So I've stopped bucking my own current, and I'm now intuitively following the path of least resistance. It feels to me that somehow there's a path that is not laid out for me, but laid out for me by me. I have this plan, and you could say to them, you might laugh, but this is my plan, and this is the extent of my plan. I want to feel really, really good all the time. And I figured out how to do that with focus. And so That's my strategy. Now, some aren't ready for it, but those who are ready for it will discover a resonance, the same resonance that you're discovering. There's a leverage in alignment that just doesn't come in any other way. And you just can't get around it. Oh, you can move a lot of things around. You can work hard. You can have plans. You can go through the motions of things. But the majority of processes that people are applying as they're going through the motions in order to justify the good that's already come or the good that they're wanting to come causes them to practice a frequency that actually throws things on their path of least resistance and slows things down. That's why people keep coming up with more and more processes and more plans, because they continue to sort of junk up their own trail. They don't need to.
See. And so that, as I'm thinking, as I work to bring some of this to my clients and to my business, and you've given me a few words there on, I'm very careful about speaking in a way that they can hear it. So that...
And yet, you're not wanting to honor their flawed belief systems that are holding them back.
Right.
That's the tricky part about approaching people who maybe aren't ready for the intuitive part of this. But as you begin speaking, as you continue to speak more and more in terms of what you know to be, use words like gut feelings, intuition, right place, right time, things lining up, unseen forces, trends in the marketplace, sensing of what those trends are, aligning well, being more efficient, having more fun in all of it, not trying so hard, getting out of your own way. All of them understand all of that. Use sports metaphors. It's like having trained your physical body into capability along with everybody else that's playing this game in a similar way, but having the edge because you are intuitively knowing where that guy's going to be. You already know how tall he is. Those stats are available to everyone. You know how tall he is. You know how often he makes that shot. You know how often he assists. You know how often he plays the game well. You know how many wins and how many losses. You know a lot about that guy. But right here, right now is the only thing you want to know. And what you want to know right here, right now is where's he going to be in relationship to where you're going to be? What's his relationship going to be in relationship to what you want? This is in the moment timing that you're teaching them. You can't teach someone how to be in the right place at the right time in a dynamic moving basketball game or in a dynamic moving economic market. So what you're teaching them is fluidity. What you're teaching them is sensitivity. What you're teaching them is intuition. And if they don't want to know about that, then they're going to play a mediocre game because they're just going to throw a whole lot of mud on the wall and some of it's going to stick. But none of it is going to be satisfying, you see.
Got it. That sports analogy is so much about being present, not planning.
Right here, right now.
Yeah, right.
In relationship to everything else that's moving around.
Yeah.
Because this is for sure, and how many of your clients are ready to hear this from you, you will know. But this is for sure. The source within them, their inner being, knows everything that they want and knows where they stand right now in relationship to it, and knows the path of least resistance from where they are to where they want to be, and is giving them impulses, you see. If you want to help them, you've got to teach them to feel the impulse and to respond to it. And until they start feeling one and following it and seeing where it leads, they're not going to know if the impulse is coming from connection or if it's coming from fear, if it's coming from desire, or if it's coming from belief, if it's coming from something wanted or if it's coming from an awareness of wanting to guard against something unwanted. You have to play this game with the knowledge that you can provide for them before you can be the intuitive in the right place at the right time, having a good time, being that you were all born to be. See? Isn't it fun?
It is.
And when you think about it, would you like it to be any other way? Really, you say you would, but you don't. And sometimes you feel like you want to say, all right, everybody just stand still and let me get a beat on where you are. Just stand still. Let me think about it. Like the sports announcers, they freeze the frame and then they draw on the picture. And Esther thinks, anybody could do that. Turn it back on and figure it out, smart guy. In other words, you got to be in the game. You got to be in the game. And you got to care about your placement in it, you say. Yeah.